Hey, it's Mike with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Tuesday, April the 23rd. Another great trading day today. We had we had a really crazy move here that was based on some market rumors. There was actually a rumor. It turns out that somebody hacked into an AP reporter's account and tweeted out that Obama was injured in an explosion at the White House, and it had a huge effect on the market here. And so great move up. I was actually done trading by this time, so I'd already hit my target for the day and was not in this, but there were several opportunities to short this on the way down as well if you were paying attention. But what I really thought was interesting was I got a couple of emails from some of you. Most of you were like, what the heck just happened? And I'll be honest with you, even though that's a pretty wild move, uh, I've seen FOMC days, on FOMC days where we got news that the market moved faster and further than that. Uh, it hadn't been the case lately because there has been no real surprises because they can't take interest rates any lower and they hadn't started climbing yet because of the economy. So we just hadn't had these kind of moves. So this for people that haven't been trading long, this was a fairly dramatic move and fairly dramatic fashion. But if you're following price action rules, the most, even if you got caught off guard by being long here, the most you should have lost was a point or two. Our rule is you never have more than a stop that's bigger than 2 points. So the worst that would have happened, should have happened to anybody, was a 2 point stop. And the reason I bring that up is that I got an interesting email today from a guy. I don't know what his motive was, other than he's just probably a hater. That's the only thing I can come up with because his email is just like he's rubbing his nose, hoping that we lost money today. I'm not going to call his name. I'm not going to do that to the guy. But I want to read you his email. And normally I wouldn't even mention him because I get emails like this all the time. This is nothing new. But I just thought it was interesting today. And the guy's email says, I'm going to read it to you verbatim. You asked for the market to keep moving and you got what you asked for. Just be careful about what you asked for, laughing out loud. I'm being a trader for 15 years, and the only way to not get killed in that move is to stay out or put market stops in. Made more money in a day today than all month. Hope you and your group of followers didn't take it in the pants. And I mean, that's just, I have no idea why somebody would send an email like this. What makes him think that we lost money on the way down and he's the only one that could make money on the way down? I didn't make any money or lose any money. I was out of the market. I'm sure there's some people that probably took a hit here. But if you're following market rules, if you've been trading for 15 years, you should know that you never trade without stops for this very reason, because things like this can certainly happen. And I've never taught anybody to trade. The one thing is we always trade with stops. And the maximum stop we're going to have is a 2 point stop. So we're never going to take more than a 2 point hit. And normally it's not even going to be that big because the last trade that there might have been an entry was here. And even then, I don't like it. You might have thought about entering here. So with your stop below the signal bar, which is right here, the most you lose is a point or so. So nobody should have taken it in the pants. And for somebody to send an email saying, acting like he thinks our traders took it in the pants, my guess is he lost his pants on the way down and has probably never made money at a market. Otherwise, he wouldn't have his resume out there on the internet trying to find a job. That's the first question I have for him. And again, I'm going to move on. It's not worth the time and effort because I get emails like that all the time. But I just thought that was um, kind of a crazy email for somebody to send unless they're just a real hater, um, hating on what we do here. And you don't have to follow our stuff. I don't ask anybody to follow this. I just teach it to help people. It works. It's a great strategy, and if you're interested in it, it's here. If not, you know, go trade whatever it is that helped you get into this move down to make more money today and you did all month. I mean, if you made more money in that move down than you made all month, you're probably not making much money anyway. It was a great opportunity. All we want is movement. We don't care which way it goes. You know, we're not only buyers, we sell just as easy as we buy. So I still just don't get what somebody would be thinking to think that just because suddenly you got a surprise move that you lost money. I mean, this was a great opportunity to make money. I didn't trade it because I was done for the day. I already made my money today. So I was done before this ever kicked off, but I'm going to go back and go over the trades, and I'll just point out these four opportunities. When you see the market moving down that fast, until you get a little trend line break and a pullback, uh, get on with it if you want to make some money, because you probably will. But let's talk about the trades. We got what I saw originally was a spiking channel here. I wasn't sure if maybe it would be down here, but you see that never worked out. Um, that really didn't come into play. The only place I really saw where it was coming into play was right up through there, and that's about right for what you see on the spiking channel. And I got the lower line off the highs, and I just copied it and drug it down, and that's where it fits. And so, there was a trade early this morning, or just after 7 o'clock, set up right here. You probably wouldn't have had the lines yet, but this was just the first pullback to the EMA. So really, the first chance to get in on a really strong bullish move. So if you were trading this time, this was a good setup. Here's a little two-legged pullback to the trend line once again that I copied here and drug it down. And easy scalp. They came right back and got the runners. You might have gotten tricked right there. I actually entered right here, and but I had my stop. I kept my stop below this original signal bar right here, and I added on another set of contracts right here. So I had a double set to scalp out on and a double set of runners that I exited on this new high here. So these two setups right here really made me most of my money for the day. There was another chance to enter right here, a little bitty doji right down here at the low of the strong of this strong support. It took it a few minutes to work on out, but it worked out. And there was a second entry right here. Um, but it really is getting too close to the highs then. And it's obvious we're in this little range, and there wasn't anything worth really entering in yet at this point. We finally got back to the trend channel line right here, so another chance to enter right here. And you could have ridden this one all the way to the high until you got stopped out on this move or whatever. But a good place to enter was when we got those three dojis in a row. That's not a good sign up there at that high. Odds are you're probably going to pull back. And so a good place to exit any runners off of those trades right there. Um, really good trading day. I wasn't, like I said, I was done trading before any of this happened. Um, it was surprising to see this, but it should not catch anybody off guard and cause anybody to lose their pants, as the trader that sent me the email said. You might take a loss here. But you're always going to take losses in trading, but you shouldn't take any bigger loss than you ever trade. As soon as this thing turned down, it should have hit a stop. Never trade without a stop, and this is a good example why. So if there are some people out there trading without stops, then yeah, they probably did lose their pants if they weren't smart enough to close this real quick. Because this entire move from here to here was in 2 minutes, and so you didn't have time to think about it. You got to react. There's actually a great second entry short right here. Your first move down off that new high, a little pullback to the EMA, a bearish reversal bar. So your first chance to get short, figuring you might get a leg like this. You don't know that you're going to get all this. Nobody knows that, including the trader that sent me the email. He didn't know this was coming. So unless he entered on one of these entries or he was shorting on the way up here, which is completely wrong, he didn't get any of this move. So I'm not saying that he wasn't smart enough to short it here, here, or here, or even here. But you have this little trend line working down through here, and you see every time it came back to it, it was a nice sell-off. And, this is these are not perfect setup bars, but when you see the market moving that fast, that's kind of typical of what it'll do. You had a great bearish bar right there. Of course, you're having to get short at the low, but you don't have any option on this trade, and there's probably... But there's a nice channel here, and you can see that's where we touched the bottom of it, and that's where it bounced. And even if you'd have had it, Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's probably it right there. You had this channel working down, and you finally got to the other side right down here. And then we broke it, pulled back, retested it, and started back to the upside. And so, I mean, even with it moving that fast, our price action rules still work. I mean, it works the same. You just have to, most people can't read it that fast. But with time and experience, you will be able to read it that fast. And there really was another secondary channel working here. You can see that this trend line was kind of, I drew it off these first few bars here, and it matches across the top. So we really kind of had a secondary channel here. But if you go by the original spiking channel, we got the break here, and we got one leg up, a correction, a second leg, and then we sold off. So the price action rules, you should have already been thinking that there's a possibility that we may get a correction up here anyway, because we've had the trend line break and the two legs up to a new high if you saw the channel there, which you should have, because you could easily find that off those top highs. Notice that, and I just drug it across there and then copied it and drug it down. And so all this stuff works. So there's no reason to get caught off guard with this. At the very least, you take a full stop of 2 points. That's the worst that should happen to you there. And you could have easily made more than 2 points before you ever got up here. So hopefully that makes sense to you. I didn't mark anything after that point. Really, once you see all this movement, there's no real good entries in here. You might have went long here, but I think it would be risky going long right here with those two dojis. And just like most other, usually on a news item, it'll have a big move, but it almost always takes it back and resets the market right away. And that's kind of what happened today. But there was no scheduled news item. This was something that came out of the blue. And you never know if that's not a real terrorist attack on the White House. And, you probably better off just stay out of the market past that point. So, and it probably would have been wise just to stay out of this as well, because unless you're shorting it, and as soon as you got that break there, that was your time to exit, because you don't know what's going to happen after that. And again, my experience, most average traders shouldn't be, your day should have been over and you shouldn't have done anything from here to here anyway. And then it resets, and then and you see how the market's still kind of nervous. It's still not acting right. We're trying to climb again after recovering from that. But better off probably to take the rest of the day off. So, and to the gentleman that sent the email, I'm not sure what your motive was, but there it is in black and white. Our strategies still work the same way during that crazy move as it does any other time. And, nobody's going to, what was his, let me go back. I can't remember what his words were. I'm going to paraphrase him here. Only way to not get killed in that move is to stay out or put market stops in. That just tickles me to read that. It's like, I asked for it's like he's hoping I got punished because I was asking for the market to move and then suddenly it moved. And I don't get that, because this is exactly what you want to happen. I wish you'd do this every day, because you can profit off of that. If it starts doing it every day, it doesn't catch you off guard as much. And it still shouldn't catch you off guard with time and experience. It was, I was wondering, I knew something had happened. I didn't know what. It took me a few minutes to find it out, and a couple of you sent me an email, and I said, I don't know yet. I'm looking at the news to see what was going on. And you had to search around a minute before I figured it out what was going on. But I knew instantly when those bars formed as fast as they did, it really started right here and it pulled back real quick. So you didn't have much time to think on any of these. You just had to enter when it broke below, headed back down each time. And the way to really enter was probably just to enter on a limit order every time it pulled back to the EMA. And even if you'd have done that here, you'd have probably still made money. But, because of the way we trade, we scalp out part of it and move or stop to break even. So, but anyway, really good trading day, really interesting trading day. It was pretty much standard stuff until right here. This was a little crazy. And it looks like we're kind of getting back to normal here. Still doesn't look quite right. It still looks like the market's a little nervous. Um, but we were already expecting a top in the air, a sell-off at some point, or at least a correction that lasted an hour or more. We don't know that it's going to do this, like I said, but we never know exactly what the market's going to do. We just have an idea of what to expect next. And after this trend line break right here, you can see it. There was the channel going up. Let me just get these out of the way so it's maybe a little clearer. You can see the channel working up. We broke it, 2 legs to a new high, and we sold off, just like always. It just happened faster than normal. And you couldn't ignore this little channel here because it was holding prices, but you can tell we're not getting back up to the highs, and we're not really bouncing off of the actual we did right there. And so that's why I'm saying you might have entered there. There's just too much overlap, especially after this channel line break and 2 legs to a new, we've already got 2 legs up to a new high. So this was like a little trap, and then boom. And you never know if somebody, I'm not saying that that's what happened, but you never know that somebody didn't set this up and profit off that, because they said the Dow dropped. I forgot how much they said the Dow dropped. So we may find out that this was a terrorist act, and, go look to where, follow the money. That'll tell you who did it, if that's exactly, if that's what they were trying to do, affect the markets in some way. And it wouldn't surprise me at all. I mean, I'm almost ready to believe anything these days. So, but I'm just mumbling on here. Not much more to talk about today. I'm going to wrap it up. I hope you had a good trading day, and I hope even if you got fooled here that you weren't like the friendly guy that sent me the email and you're trading without stops. That's the first sign to me that he's not a 15-year profitable trader, because anybody that's traded for 15 years knows you never trade without safety stops. That's why we use them, and that's why we teach you to use them, because things like this do happen. And sometimes you're on the wrong side when it does happen. What's really great is when you're on the right side and you get to profit all this. So, there's no sign this is coming until really right here. That's where the sell-off really started. So, uh, you know, and our rules would have alerted you that if you were thinking quick enough. So I'm not sure what Mr. Know-It-All, 15-year trader, saw that we didn't see, that thinks it would have led us to all be wrong and him be right. So I just don't get that. And I don't know why I'm still talking about it. But I'm going to wrap it up. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com. Hope you had a good trading day, and we'll be back to do it tomorrow. And yes, I hope we get some more movement tomorrow. See you next time.